Making America great, one dirt bike wheelie at a time. Yo, what's up, guys? It's America's birthday, and it's my favorite day of the year. Little KTM 690 MotoVLOG today. I wanted to take you for a ride up into the mountains, but it's raining all over in the mountains, so I had to bring you down to the beach. Most of you guys probably want to see the beach in Hawaii anyway. Anyway, yeah, we're going to talk about America on this here MotoVLOG. There's some goats. Oh! Yeah, coming down in here. This is a neighborhood where probably quite a few of America's millionaires live. Maybe even a billionaire or two. So many of you might know by now I'm a pretty proud American, and seems like in this day and age that means you're some kind of an arrogant asshole because you have love for your country. We're kind of in this, I don't know what you would call it, we'll call it globalism. And I think what you're going to find from this MotoVlog is that I hold some pretty conservative views, and that probably just got some people unsubscribed right there, because you even say the word conservative in this day and age, and I don't know, that somehow targets you as something that it really shouldn't. I'm a very, very proud American, and what's funny is I didn't come from a super patriotic family. Not that my family isn't proud to be in this country, they are, but not really anybody served in the military, so there's not that sense of pride from that. Maybe not, it's not fair, because two of my grandfathers, which that might seem weird because you only have two grandfathers, right? But two of my grandfathers served in the Great War, and they were both sergeants. My one grandpa, I believe, was a master sergeant, and the other one a staff sergeant, something like that. They are both passed away now. But my biological grandfather on my dad's side, he passed away in, I think, maybe 1947. So he never went to war. Him and my great uncle founded a company, and they were probably working pretty hard during the war. And I don't know, somehow he missed out on the draft. And anyway, so taking a little cruise here on the beach. So that's a little family history from me, but nobody else in my family remember dog here. Nobody else in my family served. I kind of would have liked to, but had too many broken bones and stuff from riding motorcycles. And unless I tried to sneak my way in, I probably couldn't have got in because of my wrists. But I was pretty interested in joining the Marine Corps, but you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda, I didn't, so I don't get to claim any of that. That doesn't mean that I don't have tremendous amount of pride for my country, and that's something I'm going to kind of talk about today. That was I learned that on my own. Like I said, there wasn't, it wasn't like big flag wavers in my house or anything. But yeah, I kind of developed my own pride of the country just kind of within myself. And that was at a really, really young age. I don't even remember really when I wasn't an extremely proud American. And, you know, I I probably learned a lot more about our founding fathers and the history of the country and how it all came together when I got older. But I had a sense of how important our Constitution and things are in this country at a very young age. And if I really think back, it was probably around the age of 8 that I started to learn this stuff. And that wasn't young for back in the day to learn patriotism, back in, I guess it would be the 1800s. But I would say that's pretty young to be learning that kind of stuff in this day and age. And back in the day, you'd go to the library and you get the little, index cards things, and you'd go find magazines and old books and stuff. And I did my very first report in school, whatever year that was, but it was on gun control. That's a pretty hot topic, probably, especially with a lot of my international watchers. But that's most of you probably know that the right to keep and bear arms is our Second Amendment, and seems that that's a pretty important amendment, being that it's number 2. And the other thing about the Second Amendment is that it guarantees basically the First Amendment if tyranny tries to take away your right of free speech, which is what the First Amendment is. So the Second Amendment was always very, very important to me, even at a very, very young age. I don't know how I understood why it was so important back then. I think probably I just liked guns because my father and my brothers and stuff were duck hunters. They weren't into competitive shooting or anything like that, like I was at an older age. But they just I really didn't get to hunt with them very much because I was so young. But they would go out with my dad and they would hunt ducks and geese. And when you've got these big brothers which were 7 and 10 years older than me, and then your dad, and they're going out with these shotguns, and they're dressed up in camo and all that stuff, and they're hunting. Well, that's pretty cool when you're like 3, 4, 5 years old. So anyway, I was interested in the guns, and then when I did my first report on firearms, I imagine that's kind of where I picked up the whole Second Amendment thing, and probably where I came out with my national pride. So it's really pretty interesting. And I want to encourage you guys to go to another channel on YouTube. And it's probably going to get me some unsubscribes too, but that's really pretty ridiculous. I want you to go to a channel called Louder with Crowder. A guy named Steven Crowder. He does a kind of a conservative comedy show, and more than likely most of you have heard him by now because he was one of the ones that YouTube just demonetized a while back for his unpopular views of conservative views. And he was a target of Vox and this other dude whose name I won't even mention because he just repulses me. But anyway, he was a target of, I don't know, I guess you could call it censorship. I don't really want to glorify that too much because YouTube is a private company, so if they want to not pay him for his content, which I think is super, super shitty because his content still has ads on it and they're getting paid and they didn't take it down. So that's a pretty messed up thing, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, I don't want to get into the politics of Crowder or anything, but I would encourage people to go over to his channel, and if you don't watch any of his other content, just watch the stuff that he uploaded this week. He did a little series on kind of the start of America, and I don't remember the titles of all the things, but he goes over the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and I don't think he's actually done the Revolutionary War yet, but he did the Civil War, and I'm sure he'll have a couple more come out this week. because they're taking a break while they move the studio. But anyway, if you don't watch Crowder's channel at all because you think he's a repulsive, I don't know, conservative guy that hates people's rights and all sorts of whatever weird crap you see in the media these days, I would just encourage you go over and watch him interview the guy that has really quite a lot of history on early America, or the United States, I should say. I'm going to show you the beach down here real quick. And there's some pretty cool fun facts in there. And those fun facts kind of help understand the positions that conservatives have and why we have so much national pride. It's not because we think we're better than anybody else. I really don't think that. But it is arguable that our Constitution is one of the best documents ever written. And the background of the guys that came from, I mean, is absolutely incredible. If you think about the stuff that they went through and the opinions and just how intelligent the guys were that wrote our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution is, I mean, it's awesome, man. And you know, by no means is it a perfect document. It's probably as close to a perfect document as humans have ever written, outside of maybe, you know, I'm not a religious guy. I would say I have some faith, but maybe something like the Bible. I mean, that's survived for thousands of years, and the United States of America has inspired the world. Like, it's so funny that there's a fraction of people that live in this country, and that's actually a pretty small fraction of people that I guess would say represent themselves very well, so that they seem like they're a lot more relevant than they are. And you guys can make up your own I don't know, definitions on who those people are, but yeah, MAGA hat. There are a lot of people in this world that are trying to get to the United States. And there's good reason for that. And this, despite what you think, this is still the land of opportunity. I mean, that diminishes a little bit by the day, but in this political environment that we're in. But this is definitely still the land of opportunity, and we're still afforded and recognized by our government, and our government, the documents that our government is founded on, you know, as basically the freest people on earth. Like, there's literally not another country on the planet that recognizes free speech like we do. You know, people will argue that countries have free speech, but, you know, when it comes down to it, they don't. We still do. And that's huge. And you have fractions of this country that are actually trying to kind of crap on that right now. I'm sure this is tremendously controversial, but this is my feelings. I'm being real with you. So I'm sure I'll get attacked on all this stuff because yeah, it seems to be what happens in this day and age. But I would say the conservatives have a much bigger picture view, and the way that I think in general is very, very big picture. So it doesn't surprise me that I am conservative, just because that's my thought process just in general. Conservatives are very empathetic and very into personal liberty. I mean, we've had times in our country where that's maybe changed a little bit. I would even say it probably happened a little bit, you know, 15, 20 years ago within the Republican Party, where they kind of started to sort of shit on our freedoms and stuff, and we got things passed like the Patriot Act. But, you know, I don't really want to get into that because, once again, that's controversial, and that kind of takes me off the topic of America. But the founding ideas and the founding conservative ideas that this country was founded on are, you know, unbelievable. It basically just comes down to they just wanted everybody to pursue happiness, right? And you can't pursue happiness if somebody's trying to oppress you. And I'll use that word very broadly, and it doesn't matter if that's a king that's trying to oppress you, or if that's you know, some weird crazy group that I won't mention the name of, that's you know, trying to shut people down because they think that that hate speech actually exists in America. It does on an individual level. I would totally agree with that. There's a lot of hateful people in this country, and that's not America. That's not what we're about. That just happens to be individuals that live here, you know, and a very small amount of them. Like I said, I think collectively we're very, very good people. And, you know, even if you look at the wars and stuff that we get into, I mean, maybe those turn into political nightmares and things like that. And maybe there is some bad stuff in there, like you get some private corporations in there, you know, kind of war hawking it, and for the military industrial complex, blah blah blah, all this political shit. But on the whole, the American people, they didn't, when, you know, we're in these wars, for the most part, it's for good causes. What we believe is good causes, you know, liberating people from tyrants and things like that. So there are certain groups of politicians that like to just think that, you know, it's just all bad. It's like it's some big damn conspiracy or something. No, I don't believe that. You have to believe that people are not inherently good to believe that kind of stuff. And, you know, whatever. You know, people can believe what they want. But, you know, like us, like the United States going into Iraq, there's a lot of opinions on that. And I've actually changed my opinion on that somewhat, you know, because at different times, you know, there's hindsight and things like that. I actually don't feel us going into Iraq was malicious. At first, it might have seemed like that, but it probably wasn't as malicious and bad as people think. You know, just went over there for oil and the military complex. Yeah, we all know Dick Cheney's a douchebag, and you know, was former CEO of Halliburton and all that stuff. Yeah, all that aside, in the grand scheme of things, I think it was to help the Iraqi people. And if you talk to military personnel and things that were over there, that we were there to help them. I mean, can you imagine in your country having a dictator like Saddam, or having, you know, these groups in there like ISIS and things like that just, I mean, just cutting your sister's head off and raping them and all that stuff. And I just wanted to talk about my love in life. I probably love America damn near more than anything. You know, I would proudly die defending her. I think that's something that's lost a little bit in the last couple generations. So be it. I don't know. I just think that we've been comfortable for so long that you know, some of these generations just don't understand how much sacrifice there was for this country. It's just, I think I probably got a lot of millennials watching this, but I just mean I meet a lot of millennials. I talk to sometimes hundreds of people a day, right? And they're just so clueless on how good they have it in this country. I mean, it is insane how good we have it in this country. And in general in the world is doing better now than it has ever. In general, we have more people out of poverty. You get these squeaky wheels, and you have these protesters and stuff in cities like Portland, and they have no freaking idea how good they have it here in this country. It's just, everything is bad. America's bad. We're doing this, and everybody can do it better than us. And it's like, well, if everybody can do it better than us, how come everybody isn't doing it better than us? That's a fantasy. Like I said, America's not perfect by any means, but we're doing a pretty damn good job. It's a work in progress. Frankly, I think that we're straying away from our roots a little bit too much. I'm still extremely proud to live here. I hope that maybe you guys will go over to Crowder's channel and check out that little mini series that he did. And if you're into movies and Netflix type binging, there's another real good program that I can't remember when it came out, but it's been out for a long time. It's a series that HBO did, and it's called John Adams. So if you got HBO, or you can stream HBO, or find it somewhere where you can download it or buy it on DVD somewhere, the miniseries John Adams is that's stellar. I was gonna do some wheelies for you, but I got some cars coming. So anyway, yeah, go check that stuff out and look into the history of the United States. And I think if they actually taught this crap in school, they don't. They really don't. I mean, when I was in school, I had little interest in history, and it's just because it wasn't that exciting. They were teaching us, I don't know what they were teaching us, but there was nothing really that great in it. And I honestly think that's because our education system is quite controlled by the left. These people are just getting more and more extreme on the left side, and we're just teaching our kids shit stuff. We're teaching them to apologize for everything, and I think we're losing some of our values. There's kind of no consequences for anything these days. It's just insane. If you back in my day, when you went to school and you had some douchebag that was picking on you, you took it out to the bike rack, or you took it over to the park next to the school, and there wasn't really that much of that fighting in my school. But one of my best friends was tired of this other guy he was much bigger than us. Shit, he was probably like 8 inches taller than us. And he thought he was super cool. He thought he was a Crip. And my tiny little buddy finally got sick of his crap and took him over to the park after school. It was a big, everybody in the school knew this was going to happen. I think even the teachers knew, which was funny because I think they let it happen. Anyway, the fight lasted all of about, 10 seconds or so. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it because I worked. I worked at a young age, and I was at work when probably all my buddies, didn't really. But anyway, I missed it. What happened is that bully, who thought he was a gangster, he got throttled by my little friend. Absolutely throttled. My friend actually broke his scapula. He broke the bad guy's scapula. He body slammed him so hard. And what was funny is that bully was no longer a bully. From that day on, until we graduated high school. And this guy was so fundamentally changed by getting his ass kicked at school, this bully, that he became kind of a clown. He started making fun of himself a lot because he knew he had been humiliated and that nobody believed his BS anymore. And so, you know, it's things like that don't happen in our schools anymore. When I was in high school, I actually had guns in my vehicle. There was no threats of school shooting. It just didn't exist. This is all new stuff. And it's because of these policies and things that were got in place, and it's all gun-free zones and all these things. Nobody's. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. But all I can say is that when I was in school, and this was in the late '90s, mind you, my friends and I, we all had guns in our truck. It wasn't a big deal. My school was a quadruple A, I think. I don't remember, but my graduating class was like 406 people. So it was not a small school. It's not terribly far from Portland, Oregon, which is a insanely liberal city. And it was no big deal. Just guns in the back window of my truck. Nobody ever got threatened like that. There was no school shootings. There was none of this stuff. And I just think that because of this more left mentality that we've been getting, it's just pushed us away from these values that we just inherently had, and now we're not getting them. We're trying to let the government protect us from everything. Once again, getting a little bit political here, but you've got stuff like they want this universal health care, and that sounds great and everything. I would love to have everybody had all the health care they need, but we can't even run the VA. It's like even that's not efficient. That's as close to like a universal health care system that we have in this country and for veterans, and they can't even run that thing right. So what happens when that scales up to 300 times to what it needs to be? It just doesn't work. So a lot of people shit on America for being behind the times and stuff, and I really don't think that it is. I think that we have our growing pains, but we've been successful for 243 years, and we really set the standard for the world in a lot of ways. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Happy 4th of July. Woo! Independence Day, America's birthday. I'm going to catch you guys later this week. I really need to get a couple of product videos I have up. But before we leave, make sure that you click on the link at the end of this video for my Steg Pegs giveaway video. And go... go comment on that video and subscribe to the channel if you're not. 96% of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. I mean, that seems kind of crazy, but that's the facts. So go subscribe to the channel and you can be entered to win those Steg Pegs. And yeah, put some Steg Pegs on your KTM 690. Look at this bad boy. Woo! Alright guys, take it easy.